you imagine getting them? I mean,
Good. There we go. Share my screen. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is listings. AJ's in here to kind of help and throw in his 2 cents. He's got a lot of experience. He's going on a lot of listing appointments every single week. So he's got a big variety of people from commercial to land to residential, and can kind of walk you guys through a couple of things. Couple of tools that I really want you guys to know exist are we have a place toolkit. Think of this as at the international level. So it is not personalized to BPA, but there's a ton of resources. If you come in here and you go to, I believe, agent tools and seller resources, you have everything from the listing presentation, seller scripts, the listing certification overview, inventory creation day, pricing and CMAs, all kinds of stuff that's in here. If you go to the listing presentation, you could download it, you can open it, you can print versions of it here, and you can go and find any and all of our guides there as well. There's a video here of somebody else. I think it's either Chris or Ben or both of them presenting the listing presentation. So if you want to know what an expert sounds like giving it, you could model them first and foremost if you don't have somebody to shadow this week. And I will guarantee you Ben and Chris are going to do it by the book. So you'll hear how it should sound. And then if you go out into the world and watch an actual presentation real life, you'll see how it can ebb and flow and how you can kind of adapt in the moment with your clients as well. So that's there for you. You've got the listing presentation script written out if you would like to, if you prefer it that way. You've got a couple of different audios on that you can listen to as well. So this allows you to target your training and say, this week or this month, I am going to master the listing presentation. I want to understand it. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to listen to all of these 2 or 3 times, and I'm going to go shadow a couple of listing appointments as well and work to set my own. So the best way I feel is kind of to dip yourself into the deep end and try it all so that you can gain as much knowledge as you possibly can. And some of you really like to do the research and study it before you take action. This is your ability to do that and go shadow people as well. The other toolkit that I want you guys to see is our BPA toolkit. This is ours. And our seller tools, if you click on it, you have that same presentation available to you. And you have right in these sections, I have asked Sarah to go in and we update these. So if you are in a pickle and you have no idea what needs to be included and you're at home and you need to print something, or you're at the KW office and you're not here where Claire actually has these packets prepared for you and sitting in the office for you to grab, and you go, shit, I've got a listing appointment tomorrow morning. I have got to put this together. What in the world do I do? Well, look at this. Single family residence, residential, rental, commercial, land and lots, farm and acreage, commercial sales. You've got everything that you need right there. And I had asked her, they should also have one document in here that's just called combined documents, so that you can just click on that and print all. Or if you already got everything, but you're missing one thing, you can scroll down and get the other documents that are in there. Does that make sense? So combined documents is everything that's under here all in one, making it easy for you to click on one thing, hit print, carry it with you to the listing appointment. Okay. We have some general forms that are available to you guys as well. And I'll show you where those show up, because I only had 4 of these. So will you guys pass one back to that table so that they could share one of them? Do you already have one? Okay.
I know I have one at home.
Okay. And you'll also see down here, you keep scrolling, and my favorite, the seller pre-qualification script, is also in here. That's the one you guys hear me talk about the most. If you use the seller pre-qualification script that we practice and we talk about, it's going to make your life a lot easier. You're going to know what kind of appointments you're going on. You're going to know what their what their bottom dollar is. You're going to know what kind of person they are, everything. And it gives you the exact script, what to say. I literally, when I follow it, I say, hang on, Shannon, I have just a few questions. Can you hang on a second while I pull those questions up? Okay, great. All right. So before I come out to your house, I just have a couple questions to ask you. So I'm fully prepared and I can save you time. 10 minutes. Okay. Right now. And I get started, I will read the damn script. That's why I know if you guys are following it or not, is because for years I had this saved on my Dropbox, easy for me to find in my phone so that I could jump on the phone with anybody at any point in time and go over the script. Because if I missed one of those questions, it bit me in the butt. AJ could probably attest to that.
No, it's really good when you're new too, because a lot of those questions, you're not gonna think that, I mean, I've been new, so like as soon as you hear about a listing, you're gonna get all excited and oh, I'm gonna make this much money off of it, and like you just wanna get the paperwork signed, but that like helps you when you're new more than anything, because it's gonna ask, you know, if you ask tough questions to the person, I think that goes a long way to let them know you're professional too, because yeah, I mean, asking what they owe and stuff like that, you know, you can feel some people give you a little pushback, but it's like you go to the doctor and they ask you what's wrong and you won't tell them, how are they supposed to help you? So that's the way I like to think about it.
There's some pricing strategies in here, scripts and things like that. And then it looks like we have thank God they added this. I didn't even know they added this baseline lead generation keys. So if you guys are going, okay, I need to close blank number of deals in order to hit my financial goals. You can go through this and say, well, do I want to do it from my past clients? Do I want to do it from open houses, circle prospecting, expireds, door knocking, or for sale by owners? They all require some different level of commitment from you, different scripts, different strategies. Some of you've been using a dialer, some of you be dropping things off in door knocking. Like it's just different. It's not better or worse. It's just different. Some people love open houses. Some people hate open houses. Either way, if you hate everything, then you just pick the one you hate the least, right? And just go for it. But either way, this tells you, okay, how many people am I actually going to need to talk to in order to hit my goals? And if you're hitting less than those numbers, like if you go out there and you call 100 people and you hit less than these numbers, then what it's telling you is your skill level needs to be developed. So script practice is really all it's saying. And so this is the best way for you guys to figure out, okay, what do I actually need to do in order to get a closing? And some of y'all are way more analytical than I am, and you love this. This makes me want to take toothpicks in my eyeballs, because I just want to go like call people and set appointments and do the thing. I have to let.
You gotta
I know.
knock 100 doors to get a closing. So if somebody goes out and door knocks a neighborhood and they don't get anything, there's no reason to be disappointed. It's like you gotta do 100 doors to get a closing.
How many times have I heard people get disappointed because they're like, well, I door knocked at that last open house. Cool. So how many people did you talk to? How many people did you put in your follow-up? How many people did you put in Brivity? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you know, I talked to 10 people. Okay, that's not enough to be a proven record at this point in time. Like, you got to keep going. You've got to do it enough times to start seeing some results. So, so this is where our seller tools are. Pull this folder and y'all just share. AJ, you probably already have one. I pulled this off the shelf over there, and this is already prepped by Claire. You would grab one of these seller guides that are pre-printed, and you'd have that in the left-hand side right here and take it all with you. This is, and this can be emailed beforehand. We'll work on, we used to have some videos that we sent out, but we'll work on getting you guys an email that you could send over to people. But right now we just send this, confirm the appointment, and attach this to it. Hey, looking forward to meeting you on Wednesday. And here's the packet of information I said I was going to send you. Because in your seller pre-qualification script, you say, I'm going to be sending you over some information. Will you take some time to review it before I come out? And they say, yes, this is what you send, the PDF of this in an email.
Or you can drop it by their mailbox or something if they were close by.
Yes.
Like last couple of listing appointments I went on, people bragged on that little booklet. So
It looks
if
really
they're
good.
close, that is another thing. You could physically drop it off.
Yes, absolutely. I think physically dropping it off makes a lot of sense. It makes a big impact. And if it's not reasonable, logical, you're out showing property and it's just not gonna happen, email it and get it done, get it over to them. And then you still bring them this physical copy. And I just say, this is what I emailed you, but this is our printed version. And I give it to them. I mean, we want them to feel how professional we are. I mean, tactily, you can feel that this is good quality stuff. And then you can see a high level of graphic design. It sets the standard that we are different from anybody else that they've interviewed. Before we go into listing appointment information, the documents that you need to submit are in here. So let's go over them real quick. VIP questionnaire. This is their contact information, anybody else that's involved in the transaction. And it goes ahead and includes how they want their showings to be done. This saves you time. Every system that we have is there because I wasted time a long time ago and figured out a way with the help of other people to save you guys time so that you're not listing a house and then texting somebody last minute as it's getting listed going, how do you want your showing scheduled? Instead, it was in all that detailed paperwork and Sarah has it and it's right here. And if it's not clear, she'll ask you, but we're trying to get this information up front. Then when it comes to like special dates, hey. Nobody's dressing up.
Feel anything?
Yeah.
Like,
Dragon Slayer and Dragon.
There we go. I didn't even sit there.
There it is. Team costumes. I can't think. My brain's not working. We also, in the past, we haven't done this lately, but we have sent gift cards and birthday cards to our people's kids. So if they're willing to fill this out, this is great. If they don't fill it out, don't worry about it. We usually get people to go ahead and give us that information when we're building out those lists. So like I'll say, hey, you want a free cupcake for your kid's birthday sent to them, which we don't actually mail them a cupcake. We email them a coupon for a cupcake and then they go claim the cupcake at the local baker. But they'll usually give us all their information when we do that. So if they don't fill it out here, it's not the end of the world. But if they do, this is what's going to end up in Brivity when Sarah's helping you input the person into Brivity, if they're not already in there. Flip to the next one. I describe this as, listen, the reason that you bought this home or built this whatever, the land, etc., is going to be the same reason that somebody else falls in love with it. So I want to know from your perspective, what's great about the home or the land and the community that all buyers should know about. This is how we write our listing description. You guys, all of you have writer's block when it comes to writing the listing description. And you go, well, what do I write? This is our way of getting the client to write it for you. Okay, so.
like you give them picky sellers that wants a book written about their property too, that helps you.
For shizzle.
You didn't mention this antique doorknob or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what's keeping you from selling it.
that's exactly what it is. It's not price, that's that. Flip to the next one, utilities. Why do you think we collect this up front?
It's easier to fix the tables.
And all these, not the, we don't upload these first two documents. This is our personal stuff here, but this gets uploaded with your associated documents in the MLS. So guess what question and phone call you don't get a week before closing?
Mhm.
Who are all the utilities through?
But you still get it, 'cause people won't look in there.
Well, now you have the ability to say, go to the MLS. It should be in the associated documents along with contact information and average bills. So, because I got sick and tired of answering that fucking question. So we have a form for it. All right, 47 ways to make your home sell faster. This is a great tip list that makes you not the bad guy. If you'll follow through this list, this will help give you a head start. And then if you guys have any additional specific questions, let me know. Or you may have specific things that are not generic things like, hey, this color red is loud. It's beautiful, but it's loud. And so we might want to consider repainting the bathroom or the kitchen or whatever, a more neutral color. So photo shoot and staging guidelines. This is giving them the guidance that they need, guys, that they're begging you for, and that you just don't know if you're new or you didn't take the time. You were all excited, you got the signature, and you're like, oh shit, what? I mean, like, have a great day, bye. And then they call you later asking for this. Say, do you still have that packet I gave you? Go through this right here. It's got all the tips to make sure that your house is ready for photos. Mainly, the reason we have these lists is because I forget all the details. I just assume you live like me and you already know a lot of things like me. And then I'm like, why didn't you put the toilet seat down? Why'd you leave cars in the driveway? Come on. But walks them through that. The next sheet, if you guys will look at it, is the input sheet. This is where all the data that you can pull, Sarah can do research, but you know more and you have access to the client a lot faster than she does. So this is where you fill out all the information that needs to go in the MLS. And it may feel like if I'm plugging this in, maybe I should just put it in the MLS. You've never uploaded 35 photos in the MLS if you think that. And in 2 MLSs, and then making sure that it's synced in other websites, and then making sure that all of the information, like actually we have to also put it in Brivity so that it ends up, it's just in multiple places. So you only do this once, she does this like 5 more times, but with this information. So if you don't know the information, you don't know what to fill in, please don't just leave it blank and assume that we know what you're talking about. Just ask us, say, hey, I wasn't sure what to put in these, and either ask me or Claire or Sarah what to fill in there.
The first
And we'll
time
help you
that'll take a couple of hours probably, because you gotta figure out where you gotta pull taxes for a property, because you have to put in what the taxes were on the property last year, the parcel ID, how many acres it is, how much road frontage it has, like, there's a lot of stuff there. It takes a long time to figure
We'll
out.
talk
what to
about
do
that in
and
just a
stuff.
second. Well, I'll actually go over that in just a second. Thank you for bringing that up, because I wasn't thinking about showing them that, and I will. So I'll show.
Full taxes, because I didn't even know there was a spot that you could. pull.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know that.
I'll show you guys in just a second. All right, exclusive seller brokerage engagement. You fill out all the blanks. You get them to sign and you to sign. Property disclosure, you cannot fill this out for them. This is their stay out of jail, stay out of court form. If you fill it out, you're going to be the one that goes to court for it.
Do both of these need to be signed by the seller before you give them to Sarah? Because I'm waiting on my signatures from them.
Yep, we won't put it in the MLS until we have everything, only because I've had to chase people too many times for documents, so it's all good. Then you've got a KW disclosure agreement, blah, 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 but still they require it. So why don't we go ahead and get it signed up front? And then some other document that they need and a wire
Really
fraud.
suck, too.
Huh?
So those forms really suck because they have like prices for services on there, and every seller looks at that and they're like, so I'm signing on to pay for this, and so you have to like
No,
walk them through what they're signing, but it just sucks the way to do that.
I really like filling out as much of it except for the property disclosure as I can at the listing appointment, because really I can reassure them and I can go, this one is just saying that our office gets financial compensation if you use somebody that they recommend. By the way, none of those people are on my list anyway, but this is a required document. And then like, and I just, that way they don't get all over analytical and freeze up thinking about it. I just leave the property disclosure with them, because that one, I say, listen, grab a drink, grab a glass of wine, some cheese, crackers, sit down and kind of fill this out. And if you don't know, either don't answer and then come back to me, and let's figure out what it is, because we don't want to answer these incorrectly, you know. All right. So one of my, I have 2 favorite tools for pulling up information on a property. One is Q Public. So I just type in Q Public and I type in my county. So let's say Jackson County. Right here, up at the top, it's the first one. And I can hit search records. And let's see if I have anything. Purcell, Brittany and Alexander. All right, so we own this property and I can't zoom in very well, but y'all could pull this up later. It tells you information that can also, you might need to verify if zoning becomes important, like you're talking about land. I would definitely call the zoning department. I would not just rely on this. However, a lot of what you need can be pulled from here. I've got a parcel ID. So if that belongs on my documents, I can grab that.
It's the top number there, parcel number.
It said, yeah, it says parcel number. It's a little better. It says, you know, this is a 2-acre tract. It's in plat book 83, page 124. So when you guys are looking for those legal descriptions on your contract, some of them are right here and just super easy to find. Some of them are a little harder.
Or if you need a plat pulled or something that, you know, that could be sent to Tom, you could say, hey, send me the plat book, blank page, whatever, or you could text me and I could pull it for you.
Do you guys hear that? If you need a plat,
I think at this point too, as many people we have, we ought to see how much one of those GSCCCA actual accounts is.
they're only like $30 a month or something.
I've been using Callaway and North Fulton's login, some other agent login. on my
Listen,
computer.
we're working on a solid,
We'll change the password.
oh, yeah, well, let's just keep using that one until it gets cut off. Profit and loss is important here.
For 2 years, that's pretty good.
I can click right here and I can see view map and I can see the approximate lines for this property. Of course, I'd have to zoom back out to see. These are approximate, but that would give you an idea of where this property's lines are. If you are on the map and you click any of these other parcels, you can get to the other parcels. So if I'm looking for Shannon's neighbor that lives 3 doors down, but she doesn't know who it is or what the address is, I would start with Shannon's and maybe even like send her a screenshot and go, which one of these do you think it is? Is it this person? No, I know Susie, you know, it's not her. What about this one? This one says these people. Yeah, I think that's them. All right, we'll send a letter to those people if we're trying to get in touch with them to buy property, kind of thing. If you scroll down, you can see whatever the details are that the local government has on the piece of property, how many square feet it is, that kind of thing. Also can be accurate, can be not accurate. You need to verify with your client. So if you were talking to me and AJ, you might say, so you're trying to sell this house, public record says it's 1,822 square feet. Have y'all added on or done anything since then? Or do you think that's accurate? And we go, yeah, I think that's accurate. Nothing's been changed since then. And you move on. You can see sales, right? When did it sell? When did it convey to us? You can see a bunch of the previous values for the taxes.
Go back up to the sales, I'm gonna show them. Like when you're on the first page of the listing agreement, when you're doing like the legal description, the easiest one is deed book and page. So click on that, the most recent sale date there. That deed book and page right there is the easiest way to do a legal description on a listing agreement. Because you either got to do a deed book and page, you gotta like attach the actual written out legal description. There's a couple different options, but going to Q Public and pulling up the last sale and getting that deed book and page is the quickest way to fill out that blank.
Yep. There's also other tools in here. I don't use them a whole lot, but I'm usually either pulling up the sketch that's here. So you can see this sketch. You can see like the square footage and everything of the house. Or I am pulling up those deed book and page number, double checking the year built, because like this house would need a lead-based paint exhibit, right? Because it was built in 1973. So little things like that I can pull from here. And you can search by last name, you can search by address. That's another thing that I do before I go on a listing appointment is if Tyra calls me and says, I'm thinking about selling my house, and I pull up this information before I go out on the appointment and the name is in Shannon's name, I'm going to go, hey, Tyra, it looks like the title is still in so-and-so's name. Will that person be present, or did you buy it from them, or what's going on there? And I can just ask. Adds a layer of security. I find that seller appointments are less potentially dangerous than unless there's tenants that are not happy there. But for the most part, seller appointments are pretty secure. Somebody's inviting you over to come and sell a house versus some stranger asking you to go show them a vacant property and telling you that they're cash. Those, when it comes to safety, I really want you guys to ramp up your radar on that. But
I have a question.
mhm.
My listing that's going up, she got married. How do I do that if, like, the house is in her maiden name? Does she, or her previous name, does she need to sign stuff as her previous name, even though everything's changed on her driver's license
She
and
can,
everything?
she can sign as her previous name, but then when you're under contract and going to the closing table, just ask the attorney, what do you need? Because she's married and her new name is this is what's going to show up on her driver's license. Do you need her to bring her marriage certificate or anything like that?
She already got married, so all of the documents that I have are in her new name because that's what her driver's license, her social security.
I think that will work
everything.
too.
Okay.
Just talk to the attorney because he may just want to have a marriage certificate on file to show at closing
Got it.
that this person is this person.
Okay.
And there's a little document that they have you sign when there's aliases,
Okay.
and a maiden name is considered an alias. So they'll say, can you sign that you are all of these people or that you're not all of these people,
Okay.
one or the other.
Got it.
Show them where that CRS is.
I'm about to. Thank you.
It's got
All right.
all the same stuff.
So there's two tools that I also use in Georgia MLS. I love Georgia MLS. It's got mixed reviews, it's whatever. Oh, we got a violation. So it's pretty on par. It's probably one of AJ's. Under tools, there's two things that I really love. One is called Transaction Desk. And if a listing is in Georgia MLS, that is the easiest way to write a contract. Even if it's not in Georgia MLS, it's the easiest way to write a contract because you can go in and like input the property address, the date you're writing an offer, and all this other stuff at the beginning. They call it the wizard. It's just like a template that's having you fill in the stuff for that property. And then you can go in later and say, I need a purchase and sale, I need a financing contingency, I need an appraisal contingency, and whatever. And you can like click all of those, add them, and it'll autofill parts of your contract, like your name, your brokerage name, contact information, that property address, anything that you had plugged in the wizard. So I love Transaction Desk. It makes my life really easy. I can write an offer from my phone in Transaction Desk. Same way, I just go to Safari and I open up Georgia MLS, I go to Transaction Desk. I can write a whole contract in about 8 minutes from my phone with Transaction Desk. But if I was trying it from any other service, I wouldn't be able to do that. It'd be too much, moving things around. But the other thing that's in here is CRS Tax Suite. So if you click on that, they changed how it looked. So now I'm overwhelmed.
Get back off the main page is how I get to it.
Huh?
Like that CRS right there in the middle.
Okay.
That's what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to seeing too. All right, so I can select, there's a couple of counties that do not use Q Public. So if you run into that, your next avenue is the CRS Power Tool. So let's say Gwinnett County. What?
I was gonna say do Groning Rock, but this one shows some different data other than that. And I was
Okay.
gonna show that.
So Jackson County, and I'm gonna do same property. I'm gonna let it open up. All right, what you want me to show?
So it shows a lot of the same stuff, scroll down. A lot of the same stuff like parcel ID, schools right here. On your input sheet, it's gonna ask you schools. This is where you get schools. Scroll down, there's the sale data. It's actually not that updated. It doesn't show on there. the
You guys
sale.
notice that it doesn't show me and AJ in there yet, and it also doesn't show that we split off 8 acres and sold it. So this one's a little dated. So if you had pulled this one up first, you might come to us and say, it looks like, I don't know, it looks like you own what?
I was just gonna say, that's.
And
that's where you
tax
get
amounts.
Taxes right there.
So when it asks you, what are the taxes? That's also on the input sheet. This is where we pull
I
it
know.
from.
What's weird is it shows our loan right there.
It does.
It shows our loan on 11 of 21, but it doesn't show that we're the owners of the property.
Yeah.
So, but that's another piece that Q Public doesn't have. You can actually, it shows you mortgage info on the properties through CRS. You can see right there what loan we took out on the property. That's pretty important if you go on a listing appointment, see what kind of loans they've done in the past. You might, I don't know, like a line of credit or anything would be there, but you might could tell, hey, somebody's done like 3 loans on this thing. They might be pretty over leveraged.
Yeah.
It might give you a little bit of info, foreclosure history, like it's got some extra stuff on here.
Yeah. And I think it's important to pull both, but see how this one says 10.7 acres. And if you have 2 sheets that you pulled up, one says 2 acres and one says 10.7, you're gonna have to ask, which one is it? I'm guessing it's the smaller one because that wouldn't make sense otherwise, but walk me through it. And this one says it's R1. The other one said it was R3. Another example of why if zoning is important, you're gonna make a phone call and double check.
This one's got flood zones there too, because part of that property was in the floodplain, so it shows you some of that there too.
So this is what I like to use when, especially when I need a couple more details like the schools and anything else that AJ just talked about, or if I literally can't pull it in Q Public. All right.
Then schools,
And then you can go on the county website too for schools, because Gwinnett County can be difficult.
Really?
And will give you a lot of issues. So I
Yeah.
always check with the actual Gwinnett County Public Schools website, and you can type in your address on there.
yeah.
Yeah, don't, because I feel like, because they know that's for the wrong schools.
Yeah.
That's what Brittany was saying about, especially like land or commercial or anything that zoning is gonna matter. Like say I got a farm I'm gonna list, but I'm gonna say, hey, it could be a subdivision. I'm gonna go the extra step and talk to the county and say, hey, if somebody wanted to develop this, what zoning is it in? Or they have to rezone it, and that's,
There's extra steps, and potential commercial or potential development doesn't mean jack squat, especially if you haven't actually done research and you're just going off of your client's word for it. They'll do that. People should want this property. It's right on the corner of such and such and such and such. I mean, this would make a really great commercial. Next thing you know, some realtor put potential commercial. Ain't no way that's ever getting zoned commercial.
one thing I'll tell you too, that I've learned with any government entity or anything is like, best thing you can do, like this property at Lewis Drive, we just closed, like if I had a buyer that wanted to buy something, they wanted to know what conservation was and everything, I would probably put me, them, and the government official in like a group email. That way, everything's in writing, they've got a copy of it. And Henry, our broker, told me that early on. He was like, if your client has questions about zoning and what they can and can't do with the property, he said, get them on the phone with the county. Don't make these phone calls for them and relay it, because you're gonna end up saying, yeah, you can do what you want. They buy the property and they can't, then you're gonna stick your neck out on the line.
Or they hear what they want to hear.
Right.
I mean, AJ sent, like, just giving you guys an example, AJ sent one of his builders to the count or to the city, and the builder asked, is sewer available? The answer was yes, and in writing. But guess what? It also costs how much per lot to actually access it?
It was like 60 grand.
$60,000 extra he was not budgeting for to actually get the sewer there. It's accessible, yes.
Yeah, it was available, but it was over where his building is, and it was on him to run the pipe to there. So, but he didn't have all these conversations in writing. That's why I was like, man, just, always put you and your client and this government official in a group email, and y'all just have your conversations there. That way, if anything ever goes sideways, you've got a record. Yeah.
Schools can be a touchy subject. So I would even advise, you can check that, but I would say, if you guys are working with buyers, I would tell them, you can always call the county just to confirm, to make sure they do redraw lines every once in a while. So school districts are not always a,
I think they're
Guaranteed.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make. It's like, say you call them and they give you an answer and then you tell your buyer and then they buy it and it turns out that's wrong, your ass is gonna be.
Well, it could be this month, and then after they purchase it. it could be
Yeah.
this,
Yeah, I just
so.
talked yesterday with a guy for about an hour and they bought a farm in Carnesville, 25 acres. Now, I don't think anything could have been done to prevent this, but him and his 2 kids all built a house on this 25 acres. And then 6 months later, they built that big plant that was burning railroad ties that everybody in Franklin County complains, so like, he was just like, man, if I'd have done some digging, that was probably already in the plans, and now I'd have to move because it's just, I can't live by it.
Dang. All right. Once you guys get all of your paperwork in, your operations team takes over. They, and I might save that for another day just because of the time. But let me see if I have an old, actually, I think I can go into Brivity and show you guys a couple of things. I'm not sure which ones we use. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to. I know if you have a seller pending, we have 77 steps. I know if we put a BPA in front of it, we use it. The listing checklist, review paperwork, keys, lock boxes. I might need to go through this. They have to create your links. They have to create your Canva. They create the listing or claim it on Trulia and Zillow. They email your clients. There's a couple other things that I think are not in here. It's like coordinate open house. We actually have a whole list for coordinating open houses that takes our VAs probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours for every open house that you guys have. So the checklist that they are following, I feel like we hadn't moved them over yet. Let me see.
Are those checklists applied by the ops team or do we need to?
They're by the ops team. That's not it either. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to ask them more than likely. They've got all the required documents, listing MLSs, and each MLS has their own everything, the private remarks that need to go in, disclosures, setting up your showing time stuff, updating, we keep a lockbox spreadsheet to keep track of everything. We have a dashboard that they plug everything into, all of your transactions, everything, so that we can keep up with it as a business, which is this tracker. So they're inputting it into there. They're putting it on social media. Sometimes they're doing postcards, emailing the client, welcoming them. Then you've got your whole open house checklist as well. So it goes on and on. It's a lot of sitting behind a computer and inputting things. And going to this page and inputting the same thing, but in a different way. And then this page and doing things in a little bit different way. And then putting it all in packages for you guys so that you have it, making it easy. I would say for a standard listing, just the marketing and preparation that they're doing is probably 6 to 8 hours of uninterrupted, just plugging stuff in time. So every time you guys take a listing, or every time you do an open house, or every time you ask for more marketing, that's the leverage. That's what they're there for. That's what they're here to help you keep promises to your client that you're going to do all of these things. Because otherwise you'll take the listing and you'll go show property tomorrow, and then it'll take you 3 weeks to get done what they get done in a couple of days because they have uninterrupted computer time and they sit down and they just get to work. So, let's see. I'm gonna stop the recording.